under the law of Moses, which was a conditional covenant.
For decades, Pastor Creflo Dollar stood as one of the most recognizable names in modern American ministry, a leader whose influence stretched across continents, whose sermons reached millions, and whose confidence in his message made him a central figure in conversations about faith, prosperity, and spiritual ambition. But in recent years, the polished image that surrounded him began to encounter a different kind of spotlight. A season of reflection, re-evaluation, and public scrutiny that led many people to look more closely at the man behind the pulpit. While Dollar has remained a significant voice within Christian circles, the last several years have placed him at the center of important discussions about theology, leadership, accountability, and the evolution of personal belief. What emerges from these conversations is not a tale of collapse, but rather a complex story of growth, controversy, re-evaluation, and the human challenges that come with carrying influence on a global scale. A childhood formed in modesty and discipline. Creflo Augustus Dollar Jr. was born on January 28, 1962, in College Park, Georgia, into a family that lived neither in abundance nor hardship, but in the day-to-day stability built by two parents with strong work ethics and deep moral grounding. His father served as a police officer, and his mother worked in the cafeteria of Kathleen Mitchell Elementary School, a detail that later gained symbolic weight as Dollar reflected on the humble beginnings from which his calling eventually grew. As a child, he dreamed not of preaching, but of playing professional football, a passion he pursued into early adulthood when he enrolled at West Georgia College. But an injury abruptly ended that athletic dream and forced him to reconsider his path in life. During his recovery, he turned to Bible study groups, initially as a way to fill the silence in his days. Yet something about those gatherings ignited a sense of purpose he had never anticipated. This shift would soon lead him toward a lifelong commitment to ministry, although at that time he had no idea how profoundly this decision would shape the trajectory of his future. Education, early career, and the pull toward ministry. After earning a degree in educational therapy in 1984, Dollar began working at the Bronner Psychiatric Institute, where he assisted individuals with learning challenges and developmental needs. By all accounts, he excelled in the role and found genuine fulfillment in helping others overcome obstacles. Yet even as he built a promising career in this field, he felt an intensifying pull toward the spiritual path that had opened during his college recovery years. The Bible study meetings he led informally were beginning to attract more people, including a young woman named Taffy Bolton, who would eventually become his wife and partner in ministry. Dollar later described that period as a time of clarification, a moment when he realized that he could not ignore the direction he felt called toward. His early career gave him insight into human challenges and personal struggles, lessons that he would later incorporate into his sermons. But there was a growing certainty that he was meant to serve in a different way. And in 1986, he made the decision that would become the foundation of everything that followed. A ministry born in a school cafeteria. In 1986, Creflo Dollar founded World Changers Ministries Christian Center, holding his first service in the cafeteria of Kathleen Mitchell Elementary School, the same cafeteria where his mother once served meals, and the same school where Dollar had been part of an early integration group. Only 8 people attended that first service. Yet the message he delivered, rooted in confidence, biblical interpretation, and practical life application, resonated with surprising speed. Week by week, the small gatherings grew, attracting families who were searching for direction, encouragement, and a sense of community. Dollar's natural charisma, paired with his clear speaking style and ability to simplify complex spiritual ideas, made his lessons accessible to newcomers and longtime churchgoers alike. What began as a humble gathering soon expanded far beyond the walls of the cafeteria. Within a few years, Dollar's ministry was drawing hundreds, then thousands, and the momentum suggested that something much larger was taking shape, something that would transform his life and place him at the center of a movement that was only beginning to gain traction in American religious culture. The prosperity message and rapid global growth. As World Changers Ministries evolved, Dollar became increasingly associated with a message that would eventually define his public identity: the prosperity gospel, a doctrine emphasizing spiritual growth, positive confession, and generous giving as pathways to personal and financial success. Throughout the late 1980s and 1990s, he refined this teaching, presenting it as a biblically grounded approach to overcoming lack, fear, and generational hardship. For many families who felt stuck in cycles of financial instability, Dollar's sermons offered hope and a sense of empowerment. To others searching for renewed purpose, they presented a framework that seemed to promise possibility and upward momentum. In 1991, as attendance surged, the ministry was renamed World Changers Church International, reflecting a vision that extended far beyond Georgia. Radio and television broadcasts soon followed, culminating in the widely recognized program Changing Your World, which brought Dollar's sermons into homes across the country and around the globe. By the mid-1990s, he was no longer simply a pastor. He was an international televangelist whose reach spanned continents, drawing viewers from Africa, Canada, India, the United Kingdom, and beyond. The construction of the World Dome in 1995, an 8,500-seat sanctuary built without reported financing, became a physical symbol of the movement's acceleration. By the mid-2000s, the ministry reported tens of thousands of members and significant financial growth, all while establishing satellite churches in major cities worldwide. A lifestyle that sparked public discussion. As Dollar's ministry continued expanding, discussions about his personal lifestyle began circulating more prominently in the public sphere. Reports and news coverage highlighted his ownership of multiple properties and high-end vehicles, prompting debate about whether spiritual leaders should maintain modest living standards or whether financial success could coexist with ministry work. Supporters argued that Dollar's lifestyle reflected the principles he preached, that faith, discipline, and generosity could yield abundance. Critics, however, expressed concern about the optics, particularly considering the socioeconomic hardships faced by many religious communities in the United States. Several financial accountability organizations began raising questions about transparency, leading to a period of heightened scrutiny from both the media and religious watch groups. It is important to note that Dollar consistently asserted that he operated within legal and ethical boundaries and that his personal assets were not the result of misuse of church funds. Nonetheless, the conversation around pastoral wealth continued to intensify, creating a divide between those who viewed him as an example of faith-based prosperity and those who felt uneasy about the growing gap between the pastor and some of the communities he served. Public scrutiny and ongoing controversies. In the late 2000s, Dollar became one of several televangelists examined during a U.S. Senate inquiry into the financial practices of large religious organizations. The inquiry focused on transparency and accountability rather than criminal wrongdoing, and ultimately no charges were filed against Dollar or his ministry. However, the event deepened ongoing public debates about financial reporting in faith-based organizations, especially those that operate on a global scale. Dollar maintained throughout the process that religious institutions should not be subjected to governmental overreach in matters of internal financial governance. Supporters saw his stance as a defense of religious freedom, while critics argued that additional transparency could foster trust and prevent misunderstandings. Although the inquiry eventually ended without legal consequences, the surrounding conversation left lasting impressions on the public, shaping the way many people viewed not only Dollar's ministry, but the broader prosperity movement. The jet controversy and its impact on public perception. One of the most widely discussed moments in Dollar's public journey arrived in 2015, when his ministry launched a fundraising campaign to replace its aging aircraft. The initiative drew national attention because the proposed replacement, a Gulfstream G650, was among the most expensive private jets in the world. The ministry explained that the aircraft was intended to support international missions and humanitarian outreach. However, many observers questioned whether such a high-cost option was necessary. The campaign became a major talking point across news outlets, social media platforms, and religious communities, sparking a mix of debate, misunderstanding, and strong reactions. Some followers defended Dollar's need for reliable transportation due to his demanding travel schedule, while others felt that the optics overshadowed the intended purpose. Ultimately, the campaign was withdrawn, but the conversation surrounding it continued long after. For many people, the incident reinforced their admiration for Dollar's boldness and vision. For others, it amplified concerns about stewardship and accountability. Regardless of perspective, the moment became a defining chapter in his public narrative, one that continues to shape how viewers understand and evaluate the ministries of high-profile leaders. Personal challenges and public reflection. Like many public figures, Dollar's life has included personal and family challenges that drew media attention and generated complex discussions among observers. Although details surrounding family matters have circulated through news reports, Dollar has often emphasized the importance of privacy, healing, and spiritual growth during difficult moments. He has spoken openly about the pressures of leadership, the weight of public scrutiny, and the learning curves that come with being both a father and a pastor. For some followers, seeing him navigate personal struggles made him more relatable. For others, it raised questions about how leaders should model accountability in times of difficulty. Yet, through all of these seasons, Dollar continued preaching, teaching, and leading, often addressing themes of resilience, grace, emotional well-being, and the importance of confronting personal shortcomings with honesty and humility. These teachings resonated deeply with audiences who saw in him not only a leader, but a human being experiencing the same complex realities that confront families everywhere. A theological shift that surprised millions. In June 2022, Creflo Dollar delivered a sermon that surprised both supporters and critics alike. Titled "The Great Misunderstanding," the message focused on his long-held teachings regarding tithing. In a moment of striking transparency, Dollar explained that his theological position had evolved and that he no longer believed tithing should be taught as a rigid requirement or spiritual obligation under the new covenant of Christian grace. He encouraged listeners to give freely, generously, and without fear, but not out of guilt or compulsion. The announcement sparked wide-reaching conversations throughout Christian communities because Dollar had been one of the most prominent voices teaching structured tithing for decades. Supporters viewed his shift as evidence of spiritual growth, courage, and intellectual honesty, while critics questioned the timing or interpreted the reversal as a commentary on broader prosperity teachings. Dollar clarified that his change in perspective came after years of study and reflection, insisting that spiritual leaders must be willing to adjust their teachings when they believe they have gained new understanding. While some disagreed with his conclusions, many appreciated the willingness to re-examine deeply rooted beliefs and foster dialogue about generosity, grace, and personal conviction. A leader in transition, the evolving legacy of Creflo Dollar. Today, Creflo Dollar remains a significant figure in global ministry. though the nature of his influence has shifted in a way that mirrors his evolving message. His sermons continue to reach viewers worldwide, but they now focus more heavily on themes of emotional healing, personal responsibility, spiritual maturity, and finding balance in a complicated world. His ministry still draws supporters who feel encouraged by his teachings, yet the conversations surrounding him are more nuanced than they once were. Dollar's journey reflects the complexities of leadership, the challenges of public visibility, and the human capacity for growth and change. Whether one agrees with his theology or not, his story raises important questions about what it means to lead, to learn, and to reevaluate beliefs while millions are watching. Dollar's legacy, still unfolding, remains a blend of ambition, controversy, devotion, influence, and introspection, a testament to the complicated intersections between faith, leadership, and personal evolution. Conclusion: a story still being written. Creflo Dollar's journey is far from over, and his most recent years invite reflection on the nature of belief, the weight of influence, and the courage required to revise long-held convictions. His ministry continues to serve thousands, his broadcasts remain active, and his teachings continue evolving with each passing season. Supporters see in him a leader who is unafraid to admit when his views have changed, while critics continue urging greater transparency and accountability from public religious figures. But regardless of perspective, Dollar's story offers something larger than controversy. It offers a portrait of a human being navigating faith, leadership, and public responsibility in a world where opinions are sharp, expectations are high, and change is often difficult. His life reminds us that spiritual journeys are rarely linear, and that growth sometimes requires re-evaluating the beliefs that once defined us. As his ministry moves into the future, one thing remains clear: the conversations surrounding Creflo Dollar, his teachings, his choices, his influence, and his transformation will continue shaping discussions about faith and leadership for years to come.